Good morning, good morning, good morning, my neighbors. How are y'all doing? Good morning. What a market. It's over here freezing down here in Florida. And I'm driving myself a little crazy. I was not going to wear a hoodie, but it's like freaking 50 degrees. I feel like fighting somebody. Anyways, let me go ahead and get to it. If you don't have a trading community, the link is down below. Let's go ahead and get to this chart. And yeah, this is freaking crazy. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the NASDAQ. I'm over here operating with the NASDAQ right now. And yeah, this is actually interesting on what it's doing. The Let's go ahead and look at this chart completely. Wow. Do you see that red line? I actually tried to play this up because I woke up in the middle of the night, and that red line that you're looking at right there, that red line right there is the red line that I was kind of pointing out, where you need, remember what I said to y'all, you need two touches, right? You need two touches, and the two touches was one, two, bang, and then we went ahead and made a lower high, and I said we may establish, make a lower low. Here was our lower low that was made on Tuesday, and then yesterday we went ahead and attacked that lower low, and they reversed the crap out of it. This has to be probably the fastest reversal I've seen in a very long time. The last time I seen a reversal like this was kind of like what happened over here in October. I didn't really see how it operated in December, but I would not be surprised with contract expiration with a nice little gap up. But then January looked just like this too. This was that type of reversal. But here's the thing, right? I'm gonna do this for y'all because I know y'all probably like, JD, where does this go from here? Look, this is one thing that you got to understand when it comes down to the market. Everything works in trends. Here's our trend right here. Higher high makes this our higher low. That's it. This is it right here. This is our inflection point. This is where a lot of things can happen. Now, what do I mean by a lot of things can happen? Okay, so here's our stochastic. We crossed up our stochastic. This is telling us that we should be crossing up, but we did not finish the day. There's 9 hours until this day is over. All right, so I want y'all to tread very lightly. Not saying don't take any upside moves. Look, listen, we're bullish. This is the opportunity to take upside moves. That's all I'm saying, right? But it doesn't mean for you to go run and go get some upside moves, all right? So this is a wedging type of action. We're pushing price, trying to get back up here. But until we beat this right here, we're not attempting to break the trend. Now, we're not going to reverse the trend, all right? We can't reverse the trend until we break this high over here at 18,121.50. We are going to break the trend. We're close to breaking the trend. I want you to understand how clear that is. Breaking the trend is one thing, and reversing the trend is another. So if in this event that this happens today, maybe tomorrow, we're going to finish this week. It looks like this week is going to turn into some very, very interesting doji. Let me put the weekly in here, right? It looks like a hammer doji, right? That's probably what we're going to be going with. If this thing turns into a hammer doji, right, and it just comes back up and just rejects at that red line, right, does not mean that we're not going to test that line again. One. Two, if this thing does not even touch this red line, eventually we're going to touch that line and then break out, and probably even test the breakout. Three, I'm just giving you all the scenarios because a lot of y'all are probably going to be like, well, JD said for me to go ahead and cash out my house and put all my money into NQ. I did not say none of this such. This is just financial advice. You already know what the Trading View disclaimer says. I'm not going to go ahead and repeat it for you. But if this chart is telling us anything, it's telling us that we recovered at this level because this is a doji type of order block. We might break above somewhere around 17,794. If it holds 17,794, there's a possibility this is going to continue to put that bullish pressure on, right? But if we come back over to the daily, We get this rejection, we come back under this trend line, then that means the upward trend line is no longer a reversal. Sorry. The upward trend line is continuing its reversal, right? So let me rewind a little bit. So I said that this, if we touch this, we're going to just break the trend, but we're not going to do a reversal. Now, depend on objectivity, and this is why it's very important when you do your analysis that you put rules behind it. I look at this as an uptrend, right? All this up, higher high, higher low, but it didn't touch my trend line. Higher high, higher low, touch my trend line. Higher high, higher low, didn't touch my trend line. Higher high, higher low, almost touch it, breakthrough. Now this right here is a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Higher high, lower high, higher. Oh my God, I can't even talk. Point, lower low, higher low, lower. So this is a trend that breaks here, but we didn't officially reverse the trend, and that's why I kind of keyed off this level. We got to test this level. This 17,227 has to be tested, and we got close to it. We got the 7,379, about 100 points away from it, and then Nvidia earnings happened. That's what happens when you have a whole entire market is carried by some of the top brands in itself. Let's look at the Nvidia chart, and you'll see what I mean. Just to kind of put this all full circle, this is the Nvidia chart. We were on our way down, and they decided to smash their earnings. Their guidance was solid. I do feel like they're going to try to pull the rug out from under people for the most part, because we got ourselves a nice little gap up. This is rebalance, and then we were supposed to at least test this area here. We did not get there. That would have given us our full break. Now let's look at Nvidia and do almost the same exercise, right? Here's our point and the cheat code. We've never came back to retest. If we put a fib, I know this is, I mostly do futures. I know. I apologize to all my futures folks that's watching this. Like, why is he breaking down Nvidia? Listen, this is how all of this works, especially when you have like Nvidia, Tesla, Microsoft, Facebook, all of them, they pretty much power up the QQQs when it's all said and done. NQ is a variation. Oh, sorry. QQQ is a variation of NQ, which is the NASDAQ, and we could go down the whole entire rabbit hole here. So this is tech when we're talking about Nvidia, all right? So Nvidia, look at what it's doing right now. It finished with the day with a doji, exploded to the upside on a pre-market, completely engulfs whatever previous week that's going to be coming out as soon as the market opens. Look at this. Evening star. We think we're going to retest levels. I'm telling you this right now. This is not normal for a chart. This is not supposed to happen. There is going to be either a consolidation phase where we turn around and we just kind of go zigzag, 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 zigzag until we get to this line and then explode up. That's what happened with this price action that happened in July of 2023. Or we're going to go ahead and just beeline as people start to take their profits because they got to a very parabolic move. Let me go to the monthly. Let's see where we are. I want to say this all time, right? Yeah, all time highs. Okay, so just to kind of give you an idea, they just make new all time highs in the pre-market. So there is going to be some profit taken. I don't think they're going to get to $1,000 per se, but at the end of the day, it would be interesting if it gets up to that level. Let me go ahead and get rid of this bad boy and look at this breakdown. If this thing comes back and tests the 50 EMA, then that would have been a little bit more viable to make higher highs. But because it is earnings, I would say pause. All right, pause. Don't feel like you have to jump into Nvidia right now, but I would say this is what's powering up the QQQ. And what could happen for my Nvidia folks, they may take profits here and then go into something else in the NQ, and then it gives you that healthy, like this is a healthy uptrend. That's why I'm a little bit on the side of the bullish side that we're going to break this upward trend. I know I'm going deep into this. I expected we was going to test this, but I was expecting it to test it after bang and then bang. That's what I thought was going to happen. Something very similar to, let me see, imagine if yesterday didn't have that parabolic recovery that it decided to do overnight, right? we would have went right through here, somewhere about maybe mid-March, and then came back here. Maybe some type of bullish order block or imbalance or something was going to go ahead and hold us down. Sorry, bearish, I should say. And then I don't know, we reject and then continue to the downside and test this order block, because we haven't tested this since January 2024. We just took off. So that said, I know I'm going deep into NASDAQ. I probably gave y'all a full 15 minutes of NASDAQ. The market is going to do what it wants. We have to be nimble, and this is a perfect example of that. And if you wasn't nimble and you was heavy leverage, I had a light leverage of holding on to some puts, and I got rid of them bad boys the moment I saw that reversal started to happen right about here. It got back up above the imbalance, and I got the hell on out. So if you wasn't nimble and you was holding on to puts thinking, oh, I'll just carry it overnight, I understand your pain. Don't worry. Close your position, get the cash, don't worry about it, lick your wounds, and then come back and fight after you go into a rocky type of training. All right, okay, so let's go ahead and move this on, because I can talk about this all day. Let's get it into the oil is over here starting to pick up a little steam, right? But I think the steam is kind of over. I still see a bear flag for the most part until it breaks the 50% mark, which would mean it would have to get to $81, $82 before I would reconsider this. I am looking for oil to actually reject, come down, and probably come back and test the levels. Remember, I gave you the levels. 61.21 is one of them, and then we got some of the noise that's down here, which I don't think we're talking about $50 oil, but it would be fun to see. We are in election year, so there's going to be a lot of bullish momentum when it's all said and done. All right, so that one does still look like a bear flag to me. And as far as the price action that's going on right now, they're trying to get through the bearish order block. Shout out to Cheat Code for showing some of the levels in this make. But I'll say this, oil has been holding up. It's holding up for a reason, and it looks like it's compressing, and that compression can be accumulation or distribution at this point, especially where we are in the midstream. I like the stochastic pointing down. I don't like this stochastic pointing up. And if you like catching falling knives, then you'll just jump in without doing any top-down analysis. All right, so that's it. That is what oil looks like. Let's go ahead and keep this moving. Gold, we got gold. All right, so gold really try to make a nice little move to the upside. I like what gold is doing. I drew this line yesterday to kind of give you an idea of what it's trying to do. We made a higher high. All right, folks, we made a higher high, so you already know what that means. We take this trend line, snatch it, and this is our higher low that supports that higher high. Now we're coming back to it really violently. If we break this down and then break this key level right here, we're probably going to get ourselves a nice little reversal and coming all the way down. So look out for 2031 with a nice little angle that kind of looks like this bad boy right here. That. All right, so we are compressing price, and gold could start to either break out, continue to this upside, which this weekly is kind of like we ain't doing that. This daily is like, yeah, let's go ahead, let's power up and let's get back to 2150. I just say this, at the end of the day, this is what the monthly looks like, and I think we need to really cool down oil. We have not tested any of these imbalances here. Not saying it needs to be tested, but it's been since 2022. These people probably are still in these positions. That's all I'm saying. So just make sure, if you're going to play it to the upside, is that support. If you're going to play it to the downside, make sure it is a reversal, because right now we are in a very nice uptrend, and we did some bump and runs along the way. And if you know who I am when it comes down to trading, I love my bump and runs, and this thing does look like it has upside with just some selling pressure. They start to beat that selling pressure, guess what? This thing is going to explode. Let's go ahead and move on. We're talking about silver. Silver looks very similar, and I think this is, again, what I said before. We did the rejection, it did it a little bit later, came back to this, tested it, push it back up. It's at the 50% mark. It rejected the 50% mark about 3 days ago. Imagine if this thing goes through this entire imbalance, right? And if it goes through this imbalance, we're talking about taking off to 24.50. All right, so look at silver. Make sure you keep an eye on it, because this one could be the one that drags gold all over the place again. It is pointing out. I get it. You're absolutely right with the stochastic. But could it be that they're building up some pressure to explode to the upside? This is what the weekly looks like. It is oversold. We're sitting on top of bullish order block. We try to get through it over here in October 2023. That led to that bounce that went parabolic. So now here comes this one. This could be our uptrend. Could be. All right. So just keep an eye on that. Hey, good morning. I'll wrap back around the knots. I did a full 15 minutes, Emmanuel, on Nas, but for you, I'm going to go back to it so I can recap something because I love my Nas. All right, I'm a Nas trader too. All right, so let's go ahead and keep this party going. We got ourselves the British pound. All right. Remember what I said last week. Now, this one was very interesting because I saw this morning. I said this thing looks like jambalaya rice order block, and we're sitting on top of a bullish order block, right? So now with this bullish order block, we just kept on bang, 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 bang. Oh yeah, absolutely, no problem. All right, so bang, bang. They kept on trying to like beat it, and they just couldn't. And then all this selling pressure, all of them, and I think they get eaten up right now. Now the question is, does the market actually hold and stays in that same sentiment, showing that we're going to go ahead and break out and hold above 1.2695? I'm going to show you what I saw in the 1 hour while I was awake. That is what I saw. I drew this level yesterday, assuming that we could retest this and never get here. Look what we did. Yeah, we broke it. We're back under it, and they're trying to find new supporters that's going to support it to get back up there. But this line is broken. So what does that mean? Whatever trend lines we had, this is the week. I know I'm going to be repeating myself about this over and over. Whatever trend lines we had, either you had this angle, or you had this angle, or you had maybe this angle, or you had maybe even you saw this coming and you had this angle. Right? All of these angles, at this point, is making this very interesting for the British pound. So I explained this a couple of days ago. I was like, we just keep on consolidating. It just won't break, whatever the reason. But the moment we made a higher low here, this should open your eyes to the possibilities that we're going to go ahead and try to push back up. And then here, bang, 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 bang. And if you played any of the British pound, you probably could have enjoyed this whole entire 170 tick move. Maybe not, if you do trade the British pound on futures. But this is what it looks like. And if you know anything about futures, if you know anything about the British pound, it moves up, the market moves up, and that's exactly what it did. This is the first time it's been attached to the NASDAQ in a long period of time, because it spent a lot of time being detached from the NASDAQ, and it was doing its own thing, and we was following the Russell. Now we could probably look at the British pound for some ideology of where the market is turning. So keep an eye on that on British pound right now. All right, natural gas. Let's get to it. Natural gas, it finally filled its gap. It did its job, right? Now the question is it going to fill this gap that's all the way up here? I don't think so. I want to say that, but generally speaking, I do like where natural gas is. It is a little cool down here in South Florida. I am freezing. That's the reason with the hoodie. But overall, I think a nice little break through this here with a buy is letting me know that the cheat code algo is telling us we're probably going to go ahead and start this party. The weekly does look like this. We've been making lower lows, lower highs. Do not do anything crazy. Wait for it to make higher lows first before you start going in, because you might be catching falling knives, because this is a downtrend. All right. But overall, short term or intraday, we got a nice little push up, good imbalance. It might hold. If this thing can hold the day and reverse this and continue to this upside, I can see it testing around 1.931, roughly around this level here. So just keep an eye on natural gas. I know natural gas, it is not its season right now. That is fine. But if you like to play this, you can go ahead and catch it here. All right, next one, it is the Russell. Let's go ahead and get into the Russell. The Russell has been the leading indicator. You can see I kind of drew that up. Let me see on the 1 hour. How did that look? All right. You could go look at the video. You're probably going to have to hit rewind when it's all said and done in that video. But I kind of played around with the ideology of, well, what if we end up pushing up to here? Or maybe we push up to here. Or maybe we push up to this level and reject. It looks like they picked this one. right? So I left it up here as the farthest extreme that it could do, but you could kind of see we got to this point, got up to here, but we're sitting under a bearish order block. I am concerned now. I am concerned. The reason why I'm concerned is that if the Russell is not showing that bullish sentiment, then that means they're taking money out of the small caps right now. So they usually take money out of the small caps before they take the money out of the large caps. So maybe Nvidia is doing a very parabolic move to the upside, and right now no one's really investing into the Russell right now, and this thing could probably start to fall and then drag NQ down with it. Or we could be completely detached from the Russell and attached to the British pound, and then the Russell can fall and then NASDAQ continue. So I would say in the next couple of weeks, we'll keep an eye on this, making sure that we see what we see. And if it does what it does, then we should see this thing probably tether itself to one of them. All right. Last one. It is the US dollar. Man, I feel like Nostradamus a little bit. So we talked about the US dollar, and I was looking for this to make a complete move to the upside, right? Kind of like give us a nice little head and shoulder, which it did look like a head and shoulder before this day came about. And then we could break out. I put this measure move here, blah, 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 the whole nine, right? So that said, right now the US dollar has broken that uptrend. Remember, I told y'all how the uptrends work. When you got an inverse head and shoulder, you have downtrend that happens, and then it reverses, makes a higher low, and then continues up. But if you take a drawing of the trend line of this point, that is the uptrend that needs to follow suit. Right now, it looks like the US dollar is coming through it. That's not supposed to happen, right? Especially if it happens before it even breaks the neckline and takes off and gives you the measure move, and that is exactly what it's doing right now. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's bring this back. We didn't even get the full measure move. You got your neckline here, held the neckline. I put another level just in case we did break back up to the upside, and it is not doing that right now. So what does this tell us? It tells us that the dollar could fall. We do have a death cross that happened, and they were just about to put a golden cross on here on the daily, and with this momentum here, I have a big question for the dollar. I have a question that, are you able to break this pivot? If it breaks this pivot, that inverse head and shoulder goes out the window. But if it doesn't break this pivot, I could say we might have ourselves a higher low over here maybe, and then just continue to the upside. All right, so quick rewind on NQ for Emmanuel. All right, so over at NQ and everything else that's going on with it, it is going nuts. That's the best way to say it. And right now we're locking in price, and we're probably putting a wedge. So look for an explosion. Basically what I'm saying is this: if it crosses this level, I'd be bullish. If it crosses into this order block down here, I'd be bearish. That's the best way to explain that. All right, so I'm probably going to be going through a full gamut of all this information before I get into some regular tickers. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick 15-second intermission, and then we're going to get back to it. So bear with me. I'll be right back in like 15 seconds. All right. So we're back. Oh, where's my camera? There we are. All right. So let's go ahead and get into some of the tickers. So if you don't know, I got a couple people that like post or send me like little tidbits and things that they're looking at, and I put it against the cheat code algo. If you have some tickers and you want me to put it against the cheat code algo, actually, you know what? For Emmanuel, let me do this as well. Let me show you what the TPs are doing on the daily for you. Actually, let's do Nas 100 for him. Because it's all the same thing. Same candles. They all look the same. Here's Nas 100. Just the price is a little different. And here's NQ. Oh my God, it looks like it's like a mirror image, right? It's all the same thing, same instrument. The only difference between futures and Forex is more international. So if you like to trade a lot of different currencies and everything else, you got a plethora of them, but you can still trade currencies in the future. So I like to call Forex the international version of futures. So looking at this right here, Nas 100. Let's see what these TPs are telling us. All right, so we had a nice little sell-off right here because we kind of consolidated, and we consolidated very wide, right? So now with NASDAQ sitting right here, we need a new set of oh my God, set of trading plan. Can't even think the word trading plan. All right, we need a new set of trading plans so that way we can be able to see what is going to be our upside. Since I can't see it on a daily, I'm going to come down to the 4-hour. Let's see if I get it here. Should have it. Give it a moment to load. Yeah, this nice uptrend. You see that nice uptrend? We just gave it all away. All right, so we're at entry level on the 4 hours. So this is telling me that there's still more bullish momentum. That bullish momentum, they probably came for this imbalance. That's what they're looking for. We do have jobs report. All right. I'm not saying the jobs report is going to be strong enough to knock out everything that NVIDIA has built, but that jobs report will play a factor into your trading. So be conscious of the jobs report, okay? Very important. It's going to release in like another hour. All right, anyways, so nice entry at 17,635. First TP is at 18,116, which would make all-time highs again. That is a possibility. If TP2 is over here at 18,365, but bring in the other oscillators, you'll see that we already overheated. Hence the reason why we're cooling down. MACD is trying to cross over the 0 line. It might have a little bit of trouble here, but the stochastic can stay pinned. Trust me. It can stay pinned. Look at that 1 hour. I looked at this last night. I was like, oh my God. I haven't seen a pinned 1 hour in a very long time. The last time I seen it was at the downside, not the upside. If we go all the way back, here's February. This is the last time, January 2023. It pinned it here. Kind of pinned it here. Barely. I'm trying to find October or December. This was that run up that kind of led to December's run. I want to get to October. Where are you? October. This is November. All right. End of October. That's a pin to the downside. Thought we had a nice little run on the upside. It kind of did it, but it didn't. It just held it above the 80 point, but it didn't really do anything super spectacular like what it did yesterday, where it just flat out held it. And we just held it up at that upward point. So that said, I do think that there needs to be a retracement. The 1 hour needs to cycle over. So this is probably what you're going to be looking at when it's all said and done. All right, so that is 8:30. Okay, so it's 7:30 right now. I kind of broke this all down for Emmanuel. All right, so hopefully that brings a lot of information to your trades. Let's go ahead and pull up my red list. All right. So a couple things in my red list. I think we looked at a couple of these. Let me see what I want to do. I'll probably do one small, one mid, and then one very expensive to kind of give you an idea of what the market's going when it's all said and done. Let's start with something small. Something small. I like XLF. Under $50. CCJ, that one had a lot of moves. I would love to kind of rechart that one. CCJ, XLF. Upstart, especially coming after Christmas. I will not be surprised that this is bloody red. Actually, let's go with Upstart. Oh, yep. That is Upstart. All right, so let's go ahead and chart this bad boy all the way through. Right now on the daily, it is showing bearish sentiment. It looks like the entry level is at 26.46. So we got a nice little gap down that happened here, and it was after their earnings. Let's see, maybe their guidance was sucky. They lost less money than they expected, but they're expected to lose more money for shareholders. This one has about a $5 million increase in revenue, but it does not mean that that revenue is going to continue. And plus we have this little gap that's right here. They're probably going to fill this gap, so look for this area to get filled somewhere around here. And oops, where are you? Where are you? There you are. All right, so look for this gap to fill right here. Change this to yellow, and this one's probably going to break through, and then it continues to the downside, and we get to like 15 bucks. 15 bucks upstart is very, very attainable. Let's look at the oscillators. All right, so we need a little bit of a cool down period, maybe get a little retracement, or they just break right through this block, and then we could pin this. Let's see what the weekly looks like. Weekly still has some downward momentum. I would say wait for a retracement, maybe on 4 hour, maybe 2 hour. Yeah, so 2 hour looks like it's starting to flip right now. So 2 hour retracement, hence the reason why we got a nice little pop during overnight session. Maybe get up deep to like 26.29, see the reversal pattern, and then play to the downside, because I doubt they break this downtrend. This downtrend is built on this angle here, from here to here. We made lower lows, and then we made lower lows again. So yeah, I would say we are built on this price action here. So yeah, nice little retracement here, bring it back up, but at the end of the day they're going to find a way to make a new lower low, and then we can readjust this line. So we're at an inflection point now where they're trying to see if they can hold it above $25, which is a psychological level. So look for upstart to do something, a little move to the upside, just to kind of give a breather. If we take a whole entire Fibonacci from our Fibonacci lovers, let's call it maybe a 618 retracement. Nah, that'll bring it into the gap. 236 or 382, maybe 50%. Let's call it 30. 3061 is probably where they're aiming, so that way we can short it again. All right, so keep an eye out for that level. All right, general. All right, let's go with something mid. Something mid. Something over $100. Let's go with. I kind of like Uber. I want to pick on them a little bit. Let's go with maybe AbbVie. Simon Properties. Oh, this is Spectrum Brands. I thought it was Simon Properties. No, not Simon. Not Simon. Let's go with Albemarle. Maybe if we do some uranium stuff or oil. Actually, let's go with oil. Let's look at oil. Let's go with Phillips 66. This one could be a nice little one here. They just paid out dividends, so we could probably get some more tanking action. Let's go over to the daily. Look at how this bad boy looks. Oh, I was back testing some stuff. What was this built on? Yeah, I don't know. Let me not get that deep into the weeds. All right, daily. So daily looks like a scallop. Looked like a really, really good bull flag. This thing could probably reverse when it's all said and done. They came back to the entry for the downside. We probably could reject at this level and then come back down and come to like 132 with this gap, or maybe fill the rest of this imbalance, which is about 140. Just look out for this trend line right here. Something like that. Let's see what the oscillators say. Oh, let me change this first. Downtrend. All right, oscillators. Yeah, we're a little heated. They're cooling it down. It hasn't crossed up yet, so it's probably going to try to find its way to go down. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking if this crosses on the weekly, and I think they know that, right? So they're trying to keep it above this level at 140. I don't think we're going to retest it. If we actually break down to this 140 and hold, this thing is going to give us a cross with the MACD after a stochastic. We've already been putting in histogram bearish divergences. So oil looks like it wants to come down. I'm saying oil. Phillips 66 looks like it wants to come down. So look for this to come down to 129 if this bearish divergence plays out. If it does not, as they are trying to bounce this up, look for it to break and make new higher highs, and they're probably going to test for 160. All right. So that is Phillips 66. All right, one last one. A big boy. Costco. Accenture. NVR is like the Amazon of something. I forgot what it was. They just went completely parabolic. Oh no, sorry, more like Berkshire Hathaway. It's just they very low float, and it just continues to just keep pushing. When it's all said and done, this thing just keeps going in one direction. They do homes, construction of homes. So they're in the space with like your DR Horton, your Lennar, and everything else. This one has been on my watch list because I find this very interesting that they have not split. The only shares they have afloat is about 3 million. That's unheard of in 2024. Everybody's over here trying to have billion-dollar market caps. All right, so the more shares you have, the easier it is. I'm not saying that this is not a market cap above $1 billion, but they're doing something right for their investors. And if you had invested all the way back in, you probably could have invested back here in 2022. It was $3,000 a share, and this thing is at double. Or maybe you got it during the pandemic at $2,000. Very pricey. So when I see stuff like that, they don't want new investors. So since they don't want new investors, I would rather buy this than to turn around and do something extremely, right? So that said, NVR looks really good, but I'm going to leave that one alone. Let's go with Costco. All right, you got some levels here. All right. So Costco, it looks like we are still in this vertical move. I don't know what's going on with Costco, and it's just not stopping. Oh, they did an initial dividend right in between here. Isn't that cute? $15. Look at you. Giving more money to its shareholders. All right, so looking at Costco, I'm looking at a possible rejection at this area because it has been on this upside and we keep on putting in these bullish divergences. So that said, Costco needs to kind of cool itself down. I could see it happening here. It got really close to the 738.98. Let's see, weekly. Yeah, weekly it's been running. Monthly looks like it's been running. So yeah, some tests needs to be done. 1, 2, 3, 4 months of straight green. I don't know. I'm not a gambling man, but I'm just saying, if you hit blackjack 4 times in a row, one of them is going to be a bust. So I'm not saying that Costco is a bust company. Very strong earnings, very strong company, but there's a point where some of these people got to take some profits off the table so that way they protect themselves in the event that there's a big sell-off that comes on. So let's look at some levels. So I want to say take some buys, but I don't trust it. So I'm going to go over to the 2 hour. Let's see if I got some reversal action here. Let's see. Nice little uptrend. Still an uptrend. Got some selling trading plan. MACD's already pointing down. Yeah. So I would say in the 2 hour, it does look like a potential reversal. Now, listen, get some support. Do not jump on this and say, I'm shorting the crap out of Costco. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that this wick right here is probably your support. Letting you know that there's selling pressure here. And as long as it's respecting that and making lower lows, then that means it's going to break through. But that said, it looks like entry level is 720.99. So 721. If I can get a break and close below 721 on Costco, I'm going to see if I can aim for any of these TPs down here. Because I think when this domino starts to fall, and it looks like a very wonky M pattern, you're talking about a nice little move to this downside. So let's take a measure move. Let's take a measure move from the lower hump, just in case this does give a complete curl and make it to the neckline. That will be 709. We could get ourselves a nice little breakthrough at this level. Let's throw some fibs on it. and that is our fib right here. 50% will bring us into that 698 level. So let's just call it 698 on the TP on trading cheat code, and that is the level that I am looking for Costco to get to before they even consider to take an official bounce and retest of this level. All right, so I went through the whole gamut. If you have been on my trading floor, you already know it's 8 o'clock. It's almost 8 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and set up my charts so that way I can go ahead and take some trades. That said, if you don't have a trading community, go ahead and click the link down below. Come over to the cheat code. We have a lot of fun. We trade. We have fun. We shed tears. But at the end of the day, we're always learning to become 1% better. Shout out to Neo. Also, my Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter is down below. JD_the_great. That is where you can find me and follow me. And go ahead and hit the bell and the like button so that way you can get all the notifications when I go online. That said, I want to say thank you very much. Y'all have a green day, my neighbors, and I'll see you next week on Tuesday.